Instant match reaction, Everton 1, Southampton 0 at Goodison Park. Another 3 points for Carlo Ancelotti, this time at home. Our first win at Goodison Park for quite some time, actually. And that was what was most important tonight, was going out there and getting the 3 points. We come up against the Southampton side who haven't been in great form whatsoever. I think they've lost their last 8 games, or certainly haven't won in 8 games in the Premier League. So it was always going to be a case of going out and getting the job done. And look, it wasn't the greatest game of football, was it? I don't think either side was particularly good tonight. I think there were certain Everton players and certain performers that stood out more than others. Obviously, the goal from Richarlison early on in the game is an absolutely excellent goal. From Dom's aerial ability to Sigurdsson's pass to Richarlison's finishes is pitch perfect. But other than that, like I said, it wasn't the most entertaining game of football whatsoever. I feel like Everton controlled it for an awful lot of the first half, until actually Michael Keane's goal was disallowed. Obviously, we had a couple of times when we swung the ball in and either we were offside. I think Richarlison had one where he heads it and he's offside. There was another one where we just don't make the connection on it. Again, I think Richarlison goes in for it again. He's onside this time, but just doesn't make the connection. And finally, ball comes over. Mason Holgate knocks it back in. Michael Keane heads it in, and unfortunately it's offside. And I think from that point on, certainly for the rest of the first half, Southampton sort of gained a little bit of confidence. They started to come at us. But I think the moral of the story today was they just didn't have any quality whatsoever. They were absolutely atrocious going forward. And that's no disrespect to Southampton or Southampton fans, but they just didn't pose a challenge to Everton, really. And we weren't brilliant whatsoever, don't get me wrong. We weren't absolutely exceptional. I've seen much better Everton performances this season. I suppose you could sit and say, well, look, you take the 3 points. We haven't had a good home record this season. We haven't won many home games. This season, certainly not this, sort of end of the season. I don't think we've won at Goodison Park this year. So it was massive that we went out there and got the win today. It really was. And we did count on a couple of big moments. The goal from Richarlison obviously is a massive moment. The save from Jordan Pickford to deny Vestergaard in the last 2 minutes is unbelievable. And for me, Jordan Pickford and Richarlison have both won that game for Everton today, because if Jordan's not there, that goes in and Southampton take a point. And if Southampton were to take a point, we'd probably all be sitting here saying that's Everton's doing that. We didn't go at them enough. We didn't take the game to them. We just didn't really look like we got out of first gear, to be honest. Obviously, we were missing some key players today. Hammers was out through injury. Tom Davies, who's been, for me, first name on the team sheet at the moment, he was out through injury. Seamus Coleman as well, who was excellent in the Merseyside derby last week, out as well. So, we were missing a couple of key players. Alan come back in for his first game. Thought he'd done okay. There was moments in the game where we really saw, what we've missed from Alan in terms of picking the ball up and winning it back and being that, aggressive pitbull in the midfield. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, of course, come in and worked hard as well. But I just think we were a little bit sloppy in possession, gifted the ball away a couple of times. I think Abdoulaye Doucouré's passing in the first half wasn't great. I think Mason Holgate's overall game in terms of getting forward, I think he won a couple of fouls in really good areas. I think he won the ball back as well. But again, his passing into the final third just wasn't brilliant. But ultimately, listen, we've gone out and we've won the game of football. I don't want to be negative tonight. I don't want to be negative at all, because we may sit there and say it wasn't the greatest performance. We may sit there and say it wasn't a spectacle and it wasn't as unbelievable as last week was. But let's be honest, last week was going to be very, very, very difficult to top, and that didn't top it whatsoever. But in games like that and in nights like that where it's not the best game of football whatsoever, and it is a little bit of a tough watch, and you are sort of sitting there thinking this is difficult, you've just got to come away with the 3 points. Far too many times have we seen games like that play out and Everton have only taken a point or lost the game, and we're sitting here frustrated because it wasn't a great game of football and we haven't got the 3 points. Whereas tonight we can sit here and say, listen, that wasn't brilliant by any stretch of the imagination, but at least we've gone out there and we've took the 3 points. Like I said, there was a couple of key moments within the game. The Jordan Pickford save for me is exceptional towards the back end of the game. Richarlison's goal, let's talk about that for a second. Very early on in the game again, fantastic time to score. Richarlison scoring another goal in quick succession at the start of a game. It's a brilliant ball up by Jordan Pickford. I thought Jordan's distribution tonight was really good as well. He flapped at a couple of corners, which isn't great to see and wasn't necessary. But like I said, I think his distribution was very good. And I think he, like I said, the save at the end of the game was exceptional. But Jordan plays it up. Dom wins the ball twice. He actually wins the header, and then the initial, I think it sort of knocks it on with his chest. Gets it to Gylfi Sigurdsson, and Gylfi produces what is an exceptional pass for me. again, I'm big on giving players credit where credit's due, and we sat here and we lauded James Rodriguez's pass for Richarlison's goal at Anfield, and rightly so. It was a world-class pass. That pass for me was very similar from Gylfi Sigurdsson today. He plays it into the right area. He allows Richarlison to run forward, and Richie's finish is exceptional. It absolutely is exceptional. Don't let it go under the radar tonight. Don't let it go over your head, because it's brilliant. Not only does he round the keeper in fantastic fashion, but he also puts it in from a rather tight angle. It's an angle where, if he loses his footing a little bit, or if he's a little bit off balanced, he's probably not scoring from there, but he doesn't. He keeps his cool, he keeps his head, and he puts us 1-0 up, and you're sort of thinking, right, okay, go out and get that second goal. And for me, the ultimate feeling throughout that entire game of football was, as soon as we get the second goal, this is done, because they haven't got anywhere near enough quality. The only way they were getting back into that game, or getting into that game tonight, was through a lucky drop of the ball in the box, or a corner, or a set piece. They didn't have enough quality to play through us. So if we'd have got that second goal, be it in the first half, be it in the second half, I think the game would have been completely done then, because I think they'd have started to think, right, okay, 2-0 down away from home, this is too big of a hill to climb. Whereas whenever it's 1-0, even at times when it was 1-0 in the second half, I was sitting there thinking, you know what, this is steady. I wouldn't say it's particularly comfortable, because they did have the ball, and Southampton were coming forward, and they did have nice little spells of possession, but it wasn't coming to anything. Everton weren't massively troubled. I think the likes of Ben Godfrey today, Michael Keane were pretty solid throughout the entirety of the game. There were a couple of times, I think Djenepo had a header, I think Salisu had a header as well from a corner. Djenepo had a shot towards the end where he puts it wide, which again is another big chance, and obviously the Vestergaard chance of the game. So, other than the last sort of 10 minutes where we might have been panicking a little bit, I think we were rather comfortable. But that was always the underlying feeling, I think, for me tonight, was as soon as we go out and get that second goal, this game will be done and dusted. Obviously it never came. We did have a couple of half chances. I think Everton going forward today weren't that great, to be honest. I think creatively, we didn't create much whatsoever. I don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a shot, certainly not on target. Richarlison, had a couple. I think one of them went out for a corner, and obviously the goal in which he scored. But we didn't really get forward in numbers either, and when we were getting forward, we were giving the ball away. Like I said, the passing just wasn't on point today. It needed sharpening up. Even Alan, who come into the team and was good in terms of breaking the play up and winning the ball back, he was let down a little bit by poor passing. I think Doucouré's passing in the first half was quite poor, but what you get from Doucouré is if he gives the ball away, he'll chase it and he'll win it back again. He's an absolute engine, so even when his passing isn't quite great, he's still chasing every ball. I thought Andre Gomes deserves a shout out tonight. Much better performance by Andre Gomes. Still giving silly fouls away in silly areas, and that obviously made us all hold our breath, given the free kick excellence of James Ward-Prowse, or whatever you want to say. But I thought on the ball today he was very comfortable. I thought he held it well. He dealt with 3 or 4 Southampton players on a number of occasions, and it was very similar to an Andre Gomes-esque performance that we saw, when he first come into Everton Football Club, where he could hold the ball up and he could shield defenders off and he could work with it, and instead of gifting it away easily. But like I said, other than that, again, defensively, we didn't have much to do. I think Luca Dean got forward on a couple of occasions, and his crossing maybe could have been a little bit better. Obviously, Carlo made a couple of substitutions. Alex Iwobi come on. Didn't do an awful lot. Held the ball up in the corner really well with some excellent skill, to be fair. Josh King come on, not too sure whether he touched the ball, to be honest with you. And like I said, Sigurdsson again in the middle, not massively involved in the game, but again produced that ball, which was the the assist for ultimately the winner. And yeah, listen, we come away with the 3 points. It wasn't a classic game of football. There isn't an awful lot to say about it whatsoever. It's certainly not one we'll remember, but they're the types of games that we've lost this season at home. Your Fulhams, your West Hams, your Newcastles, your Leeds, your Southamptons. They're the type of games where we'd look back on, maybe next week after beating Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, or last week after beating Liverpool at Anfield, and think, how didn't we beat Fulham at Goodison? And, the last thing we wanted today was to be sitting here next week and going, how didn't we beat that Southampton side at Goodison? Because Southampton today were really, really poor. I mean, Dan, come on from the Saints view on our channel. You might have seen the opposition preview yesterday and earlier this morning, and he said, you know, we're bad, we're really bad. I don't expect anything from this game. And often when opposition fans say that, you sort of think, yeah, well, you're just sort of hiding it a little bit there. You're not gonna, you know, you can't be that bad. But they were poor today, and if we wouldn't have got those 3 points, I think there'd have been a lot of frustration within the fan base and within the players as well. But like I said, it wasn't a great performance. It wasn't a great game of football by any stretch of the imagination, but the win's the win. An early goal for Richarlison is enough to seal it for Everton Football Club. Another 3 points. Massive game now on Thursday against West Brom. Again, nothing less than 3 points is acceptable in that one. And then we have a big game against Chelsea at the weekend. But yeah, look, I can't complain. We've been awful at home this season. We weren't very good tonight, but it's all about getting the win. And I think that was our first win at Goodison since, you know, the Arsenal game. And I actually wanted to talk. If we wouldn't have won tonight, funnily enough, I was going to talk about the impact of having those fans, those 2,000 fans for the Chelsea and the Arsenal game, and how since then it's really gone downhill. But look, maybe we just needed that 3 points. Maybe we just needed that bad run of form at home off our back, and we can focus now and go on. But yeah, look, it's a 3 points. We've won the game. You can't be disappointed, can you? Let's be perfectly honest. Like I said, Andre Gomez, I thought, had a really good game. Gylfi Sigurdsson, I thought, done okay. Ball for the goal is exceptional. Jordan Pickford's save at the end of the game, for me, has won it, as well as Richarlison's goal, of course. So yeah, there you go. Look, 3 points. That's all we expect. That's all we want. Wasn't a classic game of football that we'll be watching on repeat, but ultimately a win's a win. Massive thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. We'll be back with the player rating shortly, so don't forget to look out for that one. Don't forget as well, by the way, this video is sponsored by the Football News 365 app. You can check out the link in the top line of the description. Go and download the app to keep up to date with all your latest Everton news, scores, the Premier League table, results, all of that good stuff. So go and check that one out as well. Fantastic app. Like I said, if you use the link in the top of the description, you get over there, available on iOS and Android and all of that good stuff, and it'll help out the channel as well. So massive thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon.